What if I told you that some of the most eaten, most copied, most completely ordinary foods on the planet were invented in a city that nobody ever calls a food city? Not Paris, not New York, London. A city that stumbled into culinary history through gamblers, immigrants, opera singers, and a coronation. Nobody was trying to start a trend. Nobody was trying to build a legacy. They were solving a problem, feeding a crowd, or refusing to put down a hand of cards. I'm Jack, and today we're going deep on 10 foods you had absolutely no idea were invented in London. Welcome to Food Decoder. Let's get into this. We start where we have to start. The sandwich. The year is 1762. John Montague, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, is sitting at a London gambling table, and he will not leave. Not for a meal, not for a fork, not for anything resembling a proper sit-down dinner. He asks for meat placed between 2 slices of bread so he can eat without interrupting the game. His companions notice. They started ordering the same sandwich. That phrase travels out of that room, across the English-speaking world, and into every deli, every lunchbox, and every meal deal on the planet. The most eaten food format in human history was invented because one man refused to stop gambling long enough to use a fork. Most people assume London dry gin has always been what it is today. It has not. Gordon's was founded in London in 1769. Tanqueray in 1830. Both started out producing sweetened Old Tom gin, which is a completely different drink. The London dry style only became possible in 1831 when Aeneas Coffee invented the column still, which made cleaner, drier distillation achievable for the first time. Gordon's and Tanqueray adopted the style and became its most famous ambassadors worldwide. Here is the part that surprises people. London. Dry is now a legally protected category. A gin can carry that name anywhere in the world as long as it meets strict production standards. The name left London a long time ago. The standard never did. This one starts with a practical problem. The year is 1953. Queen Elizabeth II is being crowned, and someone has to feed 350 foreign dignitaries at the official coronation luncheon without a reheating option. Rosemary Hume, principal of the London Cordon Bleu Cookery School, and her colleague Constance Spry solve it with cold chicken in a curry-spiced mayonnaise. Make it ahead. Serve it cold. Feed hundreds without a kitchen crisis. It worked. The dish was called Coronation Chicken, and it was designed entirely around logistics, not culinary ambition. Today, it is a standard supermarket sandwich filling eaten across the world. Its royal London origin is almost entirely forgotten. Designed for a queen at Westminster, ended up in a plastic triangle at a petrol station. That is quite a journey. Philadelphia has its cheesesteak. London has its Chelsea bun. The Chelsea Bun House on Pamlico Road was established around 1711 by a man named Richard Hand. It became so wildly popular that on Good Friday, 1839, it reportedly sold 244,000 buns in a single day. That is not a typo. 244,000 buns. One day, one shop. The swirled, fruit-filled bun it produced was unlike anything London had eaten before. Layers of dough wound tight, packed with currants, sticky and dense in exactly the right way. That same year, the shop was demolished. Gone. The bun it created was not. You can walk into almost any bakery in Britain today and find it. The shop didn't survive. The bun never left. Named after Scotland. Invented in London. That is the trick. Fortnum and Mason, the luxury grocer on Piccadilly, reportedly created the Scotch egg in 1738. The original version was nothing like what you find wrapped in plastic at a motorway service station today. It was made with forcemeat containing anchovies wrapped around young hens' eggs. Refined, portable, built for travelers heading out of the city. As for the name, it has nothing to do with Scotland. The most likely explanation is that scotching refers to the coating method itself, not geography, a technique. From an upscale Piccadilly travel snack to a corner shop staple in 287 years. That is one of the longer journeys on this list. The destination would surprise the people who packed it. This one requires a small reframe. Fish and chips feels so fundamentally British that questioning its origin feels almost offensive. But the origin is worth knowing. Joseph Malin, a Jewish immigrant, opened the first recorded combined fish and chip shop in Bow, East London, around 1860. Before that, fried fish and potatoes had lived entirely separate culinary lives. The fried fish technique itself came to London's East End through Iberian Jewish immigrants. The chips arrived later. Someone put them together, and Britain was never the same. There is a rival claim from Mossley in Lancashire that has never been fully resolved. But Malin's East End shop holds the earliest documented commercial record, invented by an immigrant community, adopted by an entire nation, copied by the world. That pattern should sound familiar by now. A French chef, an Australian opera singer, a London hotel. That is the whole story. Auguste Escoffier was working at the Savoy Hotel in London in 1892 when Nellie Melba was performing in Wagner's Lohengrin at Covent Garden. He created a dessert in her honor. The original version came in a silver bowl placed on top of an ice sculpture of a swan, a direct reference to the opera's stage. In 1899, at the opening of the Carlton Hotel where Escoffier had moved, the final version appeared. The ice swan was gone. Raspberry puree was added. That is the peach Melba the world knows today. Escoffier also invented Melba toast for Nellie at the Savoy when she fell ill. Two iconic inventions, one opera singer, one London hotel. Neither of them are remotely forgotten. One factory, one street, South London. The Peak Friends biscuit factory in Bermondsey invented the Garibaldi biscuit in 1861. A thin, crisp sheet of pastry encasing compressed currents, named after Italian revolutionary Giuseppe Garibaldi, whose 1864 visit to London drew hundreds of thousands into the streets. Scenes the city had never witnessed before. Peak Friends put his name on a biscuit. Then, the same factory invented the custard cream in 1908, then the bourbon in 1910. Three of Britain's most iconic biscuits, the ones that define every tin of assorted biscuits in every British household at Christmas, all from one factory on one street in South London. The factory is gone, completely demolished. The biscuits are on every shelf in the country. That street produced more British identity than it ever got credit for. Most people have never heard of Pim's #1 origin story. They know the drink. They do not know where it came from. James Pim invented it at his oyster bar on Poultry in the City of London in 1823. Not as a cocktail, as a digestive tonic. He served it in a small tankard called the #1 cup. He eventually franchised 6 versions. Only #1 survived. Today, Pim's is inseparable from Wimbledon, from English summers, from garden parties and striped deck chairs and strawberries. The distance between Oyster Bar Digestive and Wimbledon Institution is so large, it is almost funny. James Pim was not thinking about tennis. He was thinking about digestion. London turned it into a cultural ritual. That is what this city does. And we end with the most London item on this list. Buck's Fizz. Invented in 1921 at Buck's Club, a gentleman-only establishment in Mayfair by bartender Malachi McGarry. 2 parts champagne, 1 part orange juice. The reason it was invented is very London. Club members needed a socially acceptable excuse to start drinking before lunch. That was the brief. That was the invention. Buck's Fizz is the direct precursor to the mimosa, which was invented 4 years later in Paris. Americans drink mimosas. The British got there first at a Mayfair members club, and almost nobody knows it. No immigrant necessity here. No coronation, no opera singer. Just Mayfair men who wanted champagne before noon, and a bartender who obliged. Somehow, that is the most London origin story of all. One gambler who wouldn't leave a card table. One immigrant in the East End. One French chef at a London hotel. One South London factory on one street. None of them were trying to feed the world. They were gambling, surviving, cooking for a queen, making a digestive. London just kept turning those moments into something that lasted. That is what makes this city's food history what it is. Not ambition, accident, necessity, hospitality. Every item on this list followed the same pattern. Someone in London had a problem and solved it. The rest of the world ate the solution. If this one hits different, subscribe and leave a comment. Tell me which one surprised you most. Stay curious.